Good afternoon to our vice principals, Prof. Masia and Prof. Maharaj, directors, deans, members of staff, esteemed guests, researchers, academics, change makers, and the trailblazers of tomorrow. It is both an honor and a responsibility to stand before you today, not only as the SRC president, but as a young woman shaped both by struggle and strength. According to the United Nations, women make up less than 30% of the global workforce in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. In sub-Saharan Africa, only 18% of science researchers are women. And across all sectors, not just STEM, women remain significantly underrepresented in leadership, with the World Economic Forum estimating it will take over 130 years to close the global gender gap if we continue at the current pace. And yet, we are not deterred. We are determined. In the words of Maya Angelou, I come as one, but I stand as 10,000. Today I rise to stand for all women as we gather under a powerful banner, her voice in science. And I am here to amplify that voice, challenge the silence, and speak boldly on the topic of gender parity for sustainable development. Gender parity is not a favor. It is not charity either. It is a necessity. For any nation or system to develop sustainably, be it economic, educational, scientific, or social, women must not only be present at the table, but we must also be trusted to lead it. I come from a place where ambition was my fuel and purpose was my compass. Born and raised in Johannesburg by a single mother, a woman of resilience and fierce love, who carried the weight of 3 daughters on her shoulders and the dreams of a better future in her heart. As the eldest of 3 sisters, I grew up knowing that my footsteps had to create a path, clear a path, not just for myself, but for the 2 young women who look up to me. I am the first to walk through many doors, but I refuse to be the last. I am now in my final year of LLB after obtaining a BCom law degree. I served as head girl in my high school, Parktown High School for Girls, chairperson of my residence at Erica, and today I have the privilege of serving over 50,000 students at the University of Pretoria. Each of these roles taught me that representation matters, but representation without transformation is just decoration. I have learned that leadership is not just a position, it is a posture, one that demands courage, consistency, and clarity of vision. When we exclude women, whether in science, education, entrepreneurship, governance, or agriculture, we are not just excluding talent, we're halving the capacity of our nations to grow, innovate, and respond to the world's greatest challenges. Gender parity in STEM is not just about women entering labs or coding software. It's about designing a future that includes all of us. It is about ensuring that innovations we create are informed by diverse minds. It is about harnessing the full potential of our society, not half of it. When women are equally represented in scientific research, medical development, climate solutions, and digital technologies, we create outcomes that are smarter, more inclusive, and more sustainable. While today's theme focuses on STEM, and rightfully so, we must remember that parity is needed across all sectors. In law and politics, we need women who write policy, not just those affected by it. In media, we need women who shape narratives, not just fit into them. In business, we need women who don't just rise through the ranks, but redesign the ladder altogether. And in rural development, healthcare, and education, areas that women are impacted the most, We need gender parity that is not just symbolic, but systematic. The United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, whether it's quality education, clean energy, or climate action, cannot be achieved without the full participation of women, period. Because the women bring more than numbers. We bring narratives, we bring nuance, we bring solutions rooted in lived experience and anchored in empathy. Let's be clear. Sustainable development is not just about conserving resources for the future. It's about creating systems of justice, access, equity now. Too often, young women in STEM face glass ceilings, leaky pipelines, and concrete walls. They are made to feel like guests in spaces where they are born to own. That must change, and it starts with unpacking bias, dismantling barriers, and rebuilding belief, both in ourselves and each other. In my role as SRC president, I've seen the impact of inclusivity firsthand. I've come to understand that parity must be fought on every level, from student governance to national policy. We've launched campaigns to address student hunger, financial exclusions, safety issues, access to healthcare, and resources that disproportionately affect young women. These are not just university matters. They are human rights issues. They are gender issues. Because when a young woman can't register due to finances, or drops out due to a lack of mental health support, or is discouraged from studying engineering because of stereotypes, we all lose. Leadership taught me that we cannot ask young women to rise in a system that is designed to keep them on their knees. We cannot ask women to lead in broken systems and expect them not to break. We must transform the system, not the women. We need mentorship pipelines, not gatekeeping. We need policies with teeth, not just slogans with sparkle. We need men as allies, not as rescuers, but as co-builders of a future where every single voice matters. So, to all the women in this room, own your voice. You don't need to ask for permission to take up space. You are the blueprint, not the backup. Your voice in science, in law, in leadership, it is not an echo, it is the original sound. To the educators, policymakers, and institutions, let us not only open doors, let us remove the barriers to the buildings, fund women, mentor women, trust women in STEM, make room for brilliance, not just compliance. And to all of us here today, may we move from conversations to commitments, from promises to policies, from inspiration to implementation. May we not only aspire to equality in numbers, but to equity in experience, equity in influence, and equity in outcome. Because gender parity is not just a checkbox. It is the key to unlocking our collective future. As I close, let me leave you with this. Gender parity is not an ideal, is not a distant ideal. It is the foundation upon which sustainable development stands. To achieve a future that is smarter, fairer, and stronger, we must build it with both hands, and one of those hands must be of a woman. As I always say, and in closing, lift others as you rise. Because when one woman rises, she pulls generations with her. So let us rise, not just for ourselves, but for the little girl who dreams of wearing a lab coat, leading a courtroom, building a nation, or standing at this podium. Her future depends on your voice today. Thank you. Woo!